I get it.
I just want to say that Tim was a naturalist for one summer, and he did this, and I've heard seen him do it several times, and I think it's just priceless. Kevin works for the National Park Service up in Montpelier, and I think he does this quite often, so it's not, he's a professional, even though he doesn't get paid.
So I worked here at Drift Creek in 1992 for Larry and Mary Jane. And this is a story that many of you know, that you've heard or heard of, I'm sure. Anybody here not know who Dr. Seuss is? So I developed this in 1988 when I was working for the Forest Service at Mount St. Helens, and then worked here at Drift Creek a few years later and presented this to the campers here. Let's see. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting bald crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. Now you won't see the Onceler. Don't knock on his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of the store. He stays in his lurkum cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of myth-muffered moof. And on special eclipses in August, he peeks out of his shutters. And sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. At the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a butter knife and an invitation to Larry and Mary Jane's celebration of life. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see that you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snug, his secret strange hole in his grubulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-a-phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slap! Down slups the whisper-a-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back. Such a long, long time back. Back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the sound of the swabby swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the hummingfish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees! All my life I've been searching for trees such as these. Why, the touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I had loaded my cart, and in no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a fleece. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I'm not sure that I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy. And he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a fneed. A fneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for curtains, for pillows, for sheets, or carpets, or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sure, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool fneed." The very next instant, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the fneed I had knit was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call to all of my brothers and uncles and aunts. And I said, "Listen up. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Wentzler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawk, and sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Wentzler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting fnees, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now, chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were knitting fneeds 4 times as fast as before, and at Lorax, we didn't show up anymore. Well, the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your chopping my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. Well, I, the Wentzler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow regardless of tummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my wagons, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the needs I shipped forth. I was shipping them out to the south, to the west, to the east, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs. And I biggered my money, whichever one needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when the old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "Wentzler, I am the Lorax," he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed, he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. "Wentzler," he cried with a crofulous croak. "Wentzler,
such smogula smoke by my poor swabby swans. They can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, cried the Lorax, oh, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about Glumpity-Glump. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making Glumpity-Glump. Also sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old onceler man, you. You're glumping the ponds where the hummingfish hum. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir. And I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering, and biggering, and biggering, and biggering. Turning more truculent trees into needs, which everyone needs. Just at that minute, we heard a loud whack. And from outside in the fields came the sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. Very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees. No more needs. No more work to be done. So all of my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove off under the smog-smothered stars. And all that was left beneath the big empty sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of the pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face as he hoisted himself and took leave of that place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word: unless. Whatever that meant, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my factories have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But, says the onceler, now that you are here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds. And truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water. Feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. And the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.
performance will be by Larry Eby. And this is called the Banana Song.